Hi guys, welcome to today's screencast. We are still continuing with the cardiovascular system. Now we're looking at the responses of the cardiovascular system to a single sport or exercise. So imagine when you start playing your sport, whether it's netball, football, rugby, badminton, hockey, whatever. Imagine you start to play that game. What happens to the cardiovascular system from that moment on, maybe a tiny bit before the actual event and actually during the event, what happens? So we know the cardiovascular system is made up of the heart, the blood and the blood vessels. So this is obviously going to affect the heart. So heart rate rises, blood pressure rises, cardiac output rises, many things happen. This is what we're going to be doing over the next few lessons. So first of all, corner notes, this is what I want you to get down. I want you to get down anticipatory rise, heart rate, stroke volume, cardiac output, blood pressure, and redirection of blood flow. We will not be able to get through all of this in one lesson, okay? So we're going to be doing this over a couple of lessons. Pause this, get this down for me. So first of all, before we actually talk about anticipatory rise, we're going to be talking about heart rate, stroke volume, and cardiac output. So what is heart rate? What is the definition? The definition is the number of times the heart beats in a minute, and it is measured in beats per minute, BPM. So can you get that, please, below where you have written heart rate? What I want you to do now is to create yourself a question that is to do with heart rate. I don't know. You may say, this entails the number of times the heart beats in a minute. Or this is measured in BPM. What is it? Heart rate. Okay, so stroke volume. What is stroke volume? Stroke volume is the amount of blood ejected from the heart or ventricles per beat. This is measured in milliliters. Okay, now stroke gives it away. Stroke is plural, one beat. It's not strokes volume, it is stroke volume. Each beat. Okay, that is what stroke volume is. Cardiac output is the amount of blood ejected from the heart per minute. Okay, so stroke volume is per beat, cardiac output is per minute, and this is measured in litres per minute. So stroke volume, as I said, it's not strokes volume, it's stroke volume, beat, stroke, beat. Okay, imagine if you're stroking a cat, you stroke it a few times. Every time you stroke it, that is stroke volume. That is the amount of times you're stroking it. Cardiac output is the amount of times you do it in a minute. Heart rate times stroke volume equals cardiac output. That is the equation for cardiac output. So during exercise, we know, because you've actually gone through this yourself, your heart rate increases. Therefore, during exercise, if heart rate increases, that automatically means that cardiac output is going to increase, because heart rate times stroke volume equals cardiac output. So get those notes down for me, please. They are very basic for this. In regards to your call out notes, we'll be going on in more detail in lesson about what happens. So describe changes that take place to heart rate during exercise. So as I've said, we're looking at the responses of the cardiovascular system to a single sport. Now, if you're looking at this graph we have here, this is, by the way, on your corner notes, you're going to be talking about anticipatory rise now. This is before exercise, and this is time. Okay, so before exercise up until this point, then exercise starts, exercise finishes, and you've got recovery. Up the side, you've got the heart rate, the beats per minute, 60 beats per minute. The reason there's 72 here is because 72 is the average beats per minute. Okay, so I've just put 72 there. As you can see, just before exercise, our heart rate actually increases. So even before we started exercise, it increases. Now, you must have felt this before. You won't just feel it due to exercise. You may feel it, for some of you that do dance or drama, you may feel this before a show, for example. Before the show starts, your heart rate automatically increases, you get nervous, you start to get a bit panicking, anxious. This happens in sport. The best example would probably be 100-meter sprint. Just before the 100-meter sprint race, your heart rate starts to increase before you've even done anything. This is because of an anticipatory rise, and that is what the anticipatory rise is. Now, the anticipatory rise happens because the adrenal glands release adrenaline into the bloodstream. This stimulates the sympathetic nervous system to speed up heart rate prior to exercise. So just before you're about to exercise, your body knows you're going to do it. So the adrenal glands quickly release adrenaline. This is released into the bloodstream. This stimulates the sympathetic nervous system and speeds up heart rate. Now, if you remember back to nervous control of the heart, we did about the electrical impulses. So a message got sent from the brain down the sympathetic nervous system to the SA node to speed up heart rate. Now, to slow it down, a message gets sent from the brain via the parasympathetic nervous system to the heart to slow down heart rate. So that is where the sympathetic nervous system comes in. It's really important that we have down adrenaline is released into the bloodstream, which stimulates the sympathetic nervous system, which speeds up our heart rate. That is what you need to have down for anticipatory rise. Now, this next part, you do not need to write down, okay? This is just you to listen to, and I want you to listen to this. As you can see, once we start exercising, heart rate increases even more. This is because of CO2, okay? So during exercise, more carbon dioxide is detected within the muscle. So the muscle detects carbon dioxide. This sends a message to the brain, telling the brain to speed up. So this stimulates the sympathetic nervous system, and that increases our heart rate even more. Now, the reason we have this plateau here, this is during steady state exercise. The reason we have this plateau here is because the demand for exercise has been met, i.e., we're removing waste product just as quickly, just as easily as we're getting oxygen on board. So heart rate, all of a sudden, the heart does not need to work any faster, any harder. So it just plateaus out and just has that nice steady state there. The main thing I want you to get from this is prior to exercise, the adrenal glands release adrenaline into the bloodstream. This stimulates the sympathetic nervous system, sends a message to speed up the heart. That is it, okay? So now we should have notes on anticipatory rise, heart rate, stroke volume, cardiac output. This is the type of question you can actually expect within the exam. Garcia is a basketball player. The table shows Garcia's heart rate at rest and then 1 minute before taking part in basketball. Explain this change in Garcia's heart rate. So you'd put straight away, to begin with, prior to exercise, there's an anticipatory rise. This is because the adrenal glands release adrenaline, which stimulates the sympathetic nervous system, which speeds up heart rate straight away. Marks there. Okay, so blood pressure. All you need at the time, for the time being, for blood pressure is the force of the blood, or the force of blood exerted by the blood on the vessel walls. Guys, I've written that a tiny bit wrong. So just put blood pressure is the force exerted by the blood on the vessel walls. So just ignore this middle part. So the blood is the force exerted. Blood pressure is the force exerted by the blood on the blood vessel walls, or on the vessel walls. That is what blood pressure is. And that is all you need for this. Blood pressure will be really short in the exam. As I said previously about other questions, I haven't seen much happen with regards to blood pressure. Type of questions you're going to be expecting to answer are 1 markers. Both of these are 1 marks. State the meaning of the term blood pressure, where you've got the answer there. Blood pressure is the force exerted by the blood on the vessel walls. Give a typical blood pressure value for someone suffering with hypertension. We're going to go over that in lesson. So that would be blood pressure done. Last but not at all least is redirection of blood flow. Now, we will have to go on about this in more detail in class. I do not want you to write this word for word, okay? Redirection of blood flow. With regards to your cornell notes, all I want you to put is that during exercise, blood goes from your vital organs to your muscles. Okay, I have spoken about this in class before with regards to when you're at rest, sitting there right now doing your corner notes, 80% of blood flow is going to your vital organs, so your stomach, your intestines, your heart, etc. That is where all the blood is going to, and there's not much going to the rest of the body, the muscles. However, during exercise, your muscles need oxygen. Therefore, we get something called a vascular shunt mechanism, where the blood vessels at the muscles vasodilate, the blood vessels at the organs vasoconstrict, which means more blood starts to flow to the muscles, as you can see here with regards to the milliliters per minute. Going to skeletal muscles, 1,200. During exercise, it changes to 12,500. So you can see the increase there. And then you can see the decrease in the others. Right, so there your corner notes done. If you can get those done, appreciate it, and I'll see you in tomorrow's lesson. Bye.